The second year includes a thrilling event which saw riders battle to seize their opponent's war flags using swords. Don't try this at home, kids. The idea of the fight is to fully imitate the old days. One attendee says, "I can only read about fights like this in books, but here I have seen it all with my own eyes, and it's just amazing." Organizers plan to make the International Horse Festival an annual event. That's something.
It is something to see. This always makes me, nervous. Divert your eyes.
And this is real, but they're playing. They're not actually. That's our time for now. Thanks for watching. Have a good evening, everyone. We'll see you back here tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.
Right now at 5, we're digging deeper to find out who is responsible for the explosions that happened at the substations in Madison last week.
We've had a long stretch of humidity in the forecast. We'll tell you what might have caused the hot weather.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
And thanks for staying with News 3 Now. We are asking questions tonight about what happens next in the investigation of those fires at the two substations last week.
Rose Schmidt looked into state law relating to inspecting this equipment, and she's here to explain what she found out. Rose?
Yes, well, asking questions, we learned that American Transmission Company is actually responsible for inspecting its own equipment. That's not responsibility that falls on a state agency. Days before a fire and explosion started in a piece of equipment belonging to American Transmission Company, officials from the company say they identified a component they felt required further review and plan to analyze it this week.
Any problems that were detected beforehand should be looked at, and as well as what actually occurred on the day itself.
The Citizens Utility Board advocates for fair prices for electric, gas, and water utilities, but is also pushing for more information from the utility companies following this incident.
In a case like this, what we're looking at is just trying to find out the answers, because it obviously just happened.
News 3 Now discovered there is no state agency responsible for performing inspections on equipment like the ATC transformer where this fire happened. ATC is leading its own investigation into what caused the fire, and officials say in a statement, "We know that our transformer failed, and we are looking at many of its components to identify the root cause." ATC says it inspects substations every month. The most recent inspection of the one on Blount Street was 4 days before the fire happened there. But right now, companies like ATC are only required to have maintenance and inspection programs and provide reports to the state's Public Service Commission. Those reports, however, provide very few details about what was actually inspected or when. The Citizens Utility Board says until ATC's investigation is complete, it's hard to say whether there should be a policy change.
We just want to find out and make sure that there's a full review of what happened, what went wrong here, and the steps that both American Transmission Company and MG&E may need to take going forward.
ATC says inspections of substations are performed by its local distribution company partners and contractors. The investigation at the site is ongoing, and the state's Department of Natural Resources is overseeing the company's cleanup.
Rose, thank you.
The Baraboo Fire Department says gas is shut off for some residents in Baraboo as well as the surrounding areas. That is due to a gas leak. It happened just before 2 this afternoon at the intersection of Vine and Maple Streets in Baraboo. The fire department says there was a report of an underground gas line that was hit by a utility crew digging in the area. The workers hit a 2-inch underground high-pressure line. Alliant Energy fixed that damage but had to shut down a significant portion of the service area on both the south and east sides of Baraboo. Now, those outages are expected to last several hours. A Sauk County committee unanimously approves the conditional use permit for a dog breeding facility in Spring Green after several hours of debate today. The facility, which is owned by Dr. Jill and Clinton Kane, would breed and sell beagles to be used for medical testing. Many have attended meetings in the village of Spring Green speaking out against that facility, citing noise as well as ethical concerns. The Spring Green Town Board initially recommended to approve the permit but rescinded its approval for the kennel at a board meeting earlier this month. The Sauk County Board of Adjustment will meet Thursday to vote on a vegetated buffer of that facility.
A 16-year-old driver was arrested yesterday after stealing a vehicle and leading officers on a high-speed chase. Police say the teen was going more than 70 miles per hour, ran multiple stop signs, and crashed into a stop sign at the intersection of Cottontail Trail and East Buckeye Road. The 16-year-old driver and an 18-year-old passenger took off running. They were later found and arrested. The van was stolen from a a Rutledge Street home Saturday night. It was left unlocked with the keys inside.
Well, let's get a look at your first alert weather now. Meteorologist Chris Reese is joining us out on the weather patio. Chris?
It's another beautiful day out there, gorgeous skies, though we are seeing at least a little bit more in the way of some cloud cover. Earlier on, we had a lone shower up near parts of Juneau and Adams counties. A lot of that falling apart as it worked its way on down to the south. Outside of that, visible cloud track free of a lot of cloud cover over the upper Midwest. Most folks getting in on some sunshine. Temperatures are very mild as well. 78 degrees right now in Madison. Those winds still staying out of the north and northwest at about 5 miles per hour, though that's keeping the air a little bit drier with dew points into the 50s. Our high today, 79. Of course, that's a couple degrees below average. Most temperatures are in the 70s and will stay in the 70s and 60s through the overnight hours, but we'll talk about when we could see some added heat and humidity try to come back in our forecast coming up in Maine weather.
All right, Chris, thanks. Thousands of people in central and northeastern Wisconsin are still without power after storms over the weekend. Wisconsin Public Service says more than 23,000 customers are without power. We Energies says 6,000 customers don't have power. We Energies expects to have electricity restored to nearly all customers in the Appleton and Waupaca service areas later today. WPS also expects to have service restored to 95% of its customers by late today. For most WPS customers in the Wabeno, Antigo, Elko, and Stevens Point areas, power is expected to be restored by the end of the day on Thursday.
Well, when you think of humid places across the country, places like Miami or New Orleans might come to mind.
But believe it or not, the modern day record for the highest heat index in the United States comes from Wisconsin. And one of the reasons for that record apparently is a phenomenon known as corn sweat. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield joins us live tonight with what that means. Dave?
Well, Eric and Susan, last week during that oppressive heat and humidity, our bodies did a lot of sweating to keep us cool, and crops like the corn that you see behind me also need to stay cool during the extreme heat and humidity, but instead of perspiring, they transpire. So corn sweat, here's how this works. Here, plants take in liquid water from the soil, which then travels to the roots and through the plant to the leaves. Once that water hits the leaves, it turns into water vapor. This releases a lot of energy, which cools the surface of the leaves, but that water vapor dampens the atmosphere near and downwind of places like cornfields, spiking dew points and heat index values.
And you can especially feel this when you're in the field, in a cornfield. Corn being one of the dominant crops in the Midwestern landscape is really contributing to this, especially when that corn is irrigated.
Lauer said that it takes about 2 feet of water to produce about 200 bushels of corn. That large amount of moisture in the air can boost dew points anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees locally. However, it's worth noting that all plants go through this transpiration process, so it's not just an issue with corn, and that corn is one of the more efficient water use crops out there, especially compared to soybeans or alfalfa. And parts of rural Wisconsin saw dew points well into the 80s last week, so locally heat index values could have been anywhere from about 120 to 130 degrees. But Eric and Susan, back to that record we were talking about earlier, that actually occurred in Appleton, Wisconsin during the historic heat wave of 1995, July 13th to be exact. An air temperature of 101 degrees, a dew point of 90 degrees. That gets you a heat index value of 148 degrees.
Wow. Welcome to Appleton. Dave Caulfield reporting from the cornfield we sent him to. Dave, thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Dane and Sauk County officials are working together to help build a pedestrian bridge that will connect the two counties. Today, Dane County Executive Joe Parisi and Sauk County officials kicked off the Dane and Sauk County feasibility study of building a 500-foot bridge over the Wisconsin River. The bridge will connect the Great Sauk State Trail along with the Walking Iron Trail. The study will explore design and cost options for the new bridge.
And another collaboration that sees our two counties, Sauk and Dane County, collaborating on a 50-50 basis to make a multi-use recreational trail bridge that will someday allow bikers, runners, and snowmobilers to cross from Dane into Sauk and Sauk into Dane.
There will be 2 public input sessions in October in each county to unveil the results of the study and to reveal the bridge designs.
Drive through campus, you want to listen up. There are a number of lane changes and detours starting today that coincide with construction there. The changes are mainly impacting streets surrounding University and Dayton streets. It's all for a number of utility and building upgrades happening at the UW. Now, despite the improvements, drivers will have to endure heavy traffic and may want to find an alternative route.
If folks are able to, we advise to use alternative routes, again, only if they're able to. There are marked detours in the area, and you are able to get through. So if you don't want to take a detour, you want to take your normal route, just give yourself a little bit of extra time.
All areas on campus remain open to cyclists and pedestrians. For a list of detours, head to our website, channel3000.com.
Wisconsin Farm Technology Days is kicking off today in Johnson Creek. It's one of the biggest events of the year where vendors show off the latest advancements in agriculture.
Leah Linscheid reports that in such a tough dairy environment, with 700 farms lost last year alone, farmers are looking for more than just new technology. They want support.
Taking time to sit and stay a while.
One piece of advice.
To hear a little insight from mom and dad.
There are good days and there are bad days.
Is invaluable for any couple.
Take each bad day 1 minute at a time.
Work hard and you'll be successful.
Be patient and don't get frustrated.
These wise words will no doubt come in handy for Jesse and Nathan, who have no time to sit and take a break. They're preparing for their wedding next month and their life as a dairy farming family shortly after.
We want to be able to raise our family the same way we were all raised out on the farm.
Don't be afraid to laugh. Have fun.
Remember that what comes out of their mouth on a hot, heated day comes off the tip of their tongue and does not always come from the heart.
The two will buy into the family operation just down the road from Nate's parents outside Mayville.
They're pretty proud, but at the same time nervous when you look at the industry it is now, but you always got to hope it's going to turn around and it's going to go for the best.
It's hard work.
It's going to have its challenges, but to step up and to do this, there's more thinking that goes into it than anyone ever imagines.
It won't be easy. They know that already. Luckily, there's no community better known for its support and sage advice than Wisconsin's farmers.
And that's what happens on a farm.
Pete Curran will be working at Wisconsin Farm Technology Days in Jefferson County this week, where you'll see that support take center stage. The event highlights the latest and greatest in farming advancements, but don't be fooled.
It's called technology, but know what it's really about? It's about the people.
It's nice to know that you always have someone that'll have your back.
Jesse and Nate will take a trip to the event, where they'll certainly receive counsel, along with another gift. This bench, emblazoned with their names.
It was unbelievable when we were told about it.
The organizers of Farm Tech Days will set up the early wedding present, where farmers will be able to stop and share their well wishes.
The days get long, but always make sure you save time for family life.
Cherish every day.
If you do what you enjoy, you'll never work a day in your life.
If you find yourself wandering the grounds, maybe you'll sit a while, consider the support around you, and offer a little bit of your own for this new couple. In Mayville, I'm Leah Linscheid for News 3 Now.
Farm Tech Days runs through Thursday. You can find a schedule of events at channel3000.com.
We're just a little more than a week away from the start of the Wisconsin State Fair. The fair kicks off August 1st and runs through the 11th. The event features livestock shows, concerts, and of course, food. There are 65 new additions to the State Fair menu this year, including deep fried milk with cookie dip, chicken parmesan on a stick, and many, many more. For adventurous people, bug tacos. Oh yeah, that's got you written all
Sounds
over it,
good.
Eric. There's multiple ways you can save on admission to the fair this year. To find out how, visit our website, channel3000.com.
Always something interesting. All right, there's more to come on News 3 Now at 5. A victory for 9/11 first responders. We'll have the very latest from the emotional Senate floor vote.
And then coming up tonight at 6, drivers in Iowa County say an intersection outside of Dodgeville is dangerous. We'll explain at 6.
And a check of the markets on this Tuesday. The Dow climbing 177 points. The NASDAQ adds 47. The S&P 500 jumps 20. And we'll be right back. The 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund bill is heading to the president's desk after the U.S. Senate passed it with a vote of 97-2.
With a resounding vote, the Senate reauthorized the 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund for the next 7 decades, giving relief to first responders suffering illnesses linked to Ground Zero. 200 firefighters have died since 9/11 from health complications related to the recovery and the cleanup effort.
Your losses, painful as they are not in vain.
Today, you know, all of you, that this country stands with you.
A White House official tells CBS News several 9/11 first responders have been invited to attend Friday's bill signing.
A new Trump administration proposal could mean millions of people will lose their food stamps. Under current law, most states automatically make people eligible for food stamps if they meet requirements under another federal program. But under this new proposal, income and assets would be reviewed to qualify for food stamps. The Agriculture Department expects the new rules would cut more than 3 million people from SNAP. About 36 million people participate in the food stamp program. Anti-hunger advocates say this change will hurt the very poorest Americans.
This proposal is lose-lose. It makes it harder for families to leave poverty and leave hunger while making sure that millions of Americans, including hundreds of thousands of American school kids, will go without food.
Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue defended the rule change, saying in a statement, for too long, this loophole has been used to effectively bypass important eligibility guidelines.
Let's get a check on the weather now. Meteorologist Chris Reese is here. Chris?
Yeah, if you remember yesterday, I mentioned that the second day after a cold front is oftentimes the coldest day before temperatures begin to moderate. Well, that's what we're seeing out there right now. And it's not a drastic change, but you'll notice a lot of these areas have temperatures that are a couple degrees warmer than this time yesterday. Madison, 2 degrees warmer. Boscobel, 6 degrees warmer. Lone Rock, 5 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago. We are gradually going to see an uptick in our temperatures just about each and every day. High temperatures today made it into the upper 70s and low 80s. Madison made it to 79, Boscobel 83, Prairie du Chien at 85 for that high temperature today. Oddly enough, this is still a couple degrees below average. Our normal high now 81, and we're going to start to see that normal high slide back down as we begin to go later on through the rest of the summer. The temperature right now, 78, so we're still cooling off by a degree or so. Winds out of the north and northwest at 5 miles per hour. The dew point at 59. With those dew points into the upper 50s, you'll notice the moisture in the air just a little bit, but not by a lot. Winds continuing to come out of the north and northwest. That's keeping the air somewhat drier for us with those dew points mainly in the 50s, but some of the 60s dew points are starting to show up. This is where you'll feel just a little bit more in the way of the humidity. So we're starting to notice the moisture out there, but it's not all that bad. It still feels somewhat comfortable as you step outside. We are watching one lone shower and thunderstorm. This extends anywhere from about Monroe County down towards parts of Iowa County and extreme northwestern Dane County. There are a couple of rumbles of thunder embedded in this. It's not a severe thunderstorm at all, but with that slight chance of rain, there was just enough moisture and instability for one shower to go up. I don't think it's going to last all that long. We've been tracking it from the north. As the sun begins to set and we get a little bit cooler, we're actually going to notice a lot of that begin to fall by the wayside. Outside of that, things are a lot more quiet across parts of the Midwest as a whole. That's the only thing we're watching. High pressure is oddly enough keeping us mainly dry with plenty of sunshine around for the most part. And that's what's going to stay in control as we go through the next several days. Eventually, though, this starts to slide ever so slightly towards the east. As that happens, our winds begin to take a turn. They'll come more from the south. That begins to increase our temperatures and the humidity, especially as we go through towards the middle and the end of the week. We'll show you that in just a second. Let's time out the next 36 hours for you. We'll cool down towards about 60 degrees overnight tonight. We'll wake up with those temperatures in the same area. We'll warm up again into the low 80s for your highs tomorrow before cooling right back down into the 60s overnight before more 80s come our way as we work your way into Thursday. But as we go through the rest of the forecast, notice how we begin to warm things up closer to 90 by the weekend, and then eventually a cold front will come through early next week that'll cool our temperatures back down closer to average, though still staying above. Now we're watching traffic for you guys as folks begin to head on home. This is the Beltline at Monona Drive. Not too bad when you get towards Monona Drive, but before you get there, things are certainly slow going once you get towards about Verona Road, all the way towards West Broadway, just past John Nolan's. Pack your patience, headed that direction. A lot of speeds anywhere from 14 to 17 miles per hour. Of course, we'll keep an eye on the traffic throughout the show.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Why air conditioner repairs are costing some homeowners hundreds, even thousands of dollars. That story after a short break. Millions of Americans are keeping cool this summer thanks to their air conditioning.
But some may be surprised to find out that the coolant inside older units is being phased out. And that has homeowners paying high prices to recharge or replace their air conditioners. Diane King-Hall reports.
The air conditioning business is heating up for workers at Air Group. That's because the coolant inside many older AC units will soon be obsolete.
We're converting an air conditioning system from R22, which is the old refrigerant, to R410A, which is the environmentally friendly replacement.
On January 1st, 2020, the Environmental Protection Agency is banning the production of R22 gas, which is known as Freon and helps create cool air.
R22 is very efficient, but it has a chlorine base, which is ozone depleting. So it's been deemed, bad for the environment.
Homeowners that need to refill their units are seeing prices of R22 soar because supplies are so low. What used to cost a few $100s can now run up to $1,600. Newer air conditioners typically use the environmentally friendly R410, which can't be used in old systems.
I would say if they're having issues with the system, the cost factors for repairs become exorbitant, and you're throwing good money after bad.
Replacing old R22 units can run anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, depending on the size of the job. But the government is offering tax breaks up to $5,000 for a new system. Diane King Hall, CBS News, New York.
And stay with us. We'll have another check of your forecast in just a moment.
CBS Evening News, the crucial questions lawmakers will ask at tomorrow's high-stakes Mueller hearings. CBS News exclusive. We're aboard the U.S. warship officials now believe down 2 Iranian drones, not just one. ICE raids many saw coming lead to far fewer arrests than the president promised. Plus, what our Eye on America series has learned about the fate of thousands of migrant children in U.S. custody. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.
And another great evening outside.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful temperatures are mainly in the 70s for a lot of folks. There's one lone shower or thunderstorm that we're watching. I don't think it's going to last all that much longer. It's running out of fuel and the instability, but we'll watch those temperatures fall down towards about 60 degrees overnight. We'll stay comfortable. By Wednesday, we'll see those highs right around 83. And then notice how we add a couple degrees each and every day. By Sunday, that'll be the warmest day of the forecast with temperatures near 90. Then the cold front comes through Sunday night into Monday. That'll begin to cool things down. So it's not the worst forecast, but nonetheless, it's still warmer than average, believe it or not.
All right.
I like the heat.
I know,
It's
you
not
love
bad.
it.
I like
He loves
it.
it.
I can handle it. All right, Chris, thanks. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back with more updates on News 3 Now at 6. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell.